Assalamu alaikum. This is my news report for new media and international journalism. In order to understand this topic, we have to first break it down into three parts: the pre-new media age, the contemporary age that followed that, and then the current affairs of the new media and international journalism that are currently going on today. The pre-new media age was riddled with wars and was mostly highlighted by the colonial legacy. The colonies were still active at that period, and the colonial mindset that basically centered around the idea that the conquerors were the master race and the conquered people were the inferior race, and they were treated as that, and they were depicted as that in the content during that age. They were very direct about it, and over the years they have learned to be subtle, and they do the same practices up till the new media was coming, because when new media was coming, it was heralded as this tool that would revitalize the dying international journalism and dying media, because media at that point was almost dying. Their practices were almost transparent, and the bias was almost the bias was transparent as well. So and plus, because of the economic structures, because of globalization that occurred after that, there was no longer any money in international journalism. So the international journalism was almost dying, and new media was seen as this tool that would revive not only international journalism but also media and journalism in its own entirety, because for the first time there was this prospect of a possibility of a democratic structure in the media, in the sense that for the first time ever, instead of a centric approach in which an allocationary pattern of communication is occurring, the audiences would be able to communicate and interact with the source directly, and that source can respond back as and would see, and the communication will be almost uh, in a manner of consultation, right? Because and this was seen as this new thing that would revitalize the whole system, but as it turned out, that was not the case, because internet was not able to bypass the information gatekeepers of the West. The image of our societies, the third world societies, as these backwards barbaric people remain the same. It's just now more subtle. For example, even when they support many of our causes and good causes, which are factually proven to be to occur in our cultures, even those stories are presented with a touch of almost a charity case, like they almost depict us in a fashion uh, that that establishes that we are this barbaric society in which, and because of which this atrocity is happening, and UNO or whatever supranational organization it is, it's trying its best to bring some the Western uh, sort of uh, a more mild sort of thinking, a more enlightened approach to life, and that is the case still, and it has gone so far that the that even their domestic news is known to us, but even our international news is probably not known to them, and it doesn't have the same. We don't have the same say. We don't have the same. We have Our voice is not heard at the same frequency as theirs are, and even when it's heard, it's filtered. It's filtered through their eyes to meet their biases, and social media and new media as a tool for a democratic change in the system of media has also failed, because over the years it shows, and over what the state of international journalism and journalism in media, because on especially on the new media right now, is dismal, because these very these very organizations that were there were the new media organizations, such as all the social media platforms. They became so successful and so big that they became supranational organizations of in their own right. They had their own biases, they had their own objectives and their own goals and interests, and they shaped and they corrupted the media practices and the media content of today to fit those to fit those needs. And they can, and even though they are being openly criticized for that, and even though they are currently losing business because of that. For example, the YouTube is facing this widespread critique, and popular, one of the biggest content creators are leaving the platform because of their unethical practices. So the so this gives us this takes us to the point that maybe, especially when we realize the extent of disinformation that has been going on during this pandemic, maybe we can come to a point that we can decide on some ethical practices, so that the level of disinformation that has been spread because of these new media technologies could be controlled in the future. So that's my report. Thank you.